like a sausage bridge.
I just want to ask a question. So you're a farmer, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm from a long list of farmers.
Okay, so they mentioned something about the 10% unemployment rate, like Georgia's close to that. And so so some would say, like Governor deal with the probation officers, that there's unemployed that would like to have some of those jobs, maybe even, I guess, upping the dollar amount per hour, just to satisfy them as well. What's your take on that?
Well, I think the way he phrased that was that they could apply for those jobs. We don't apply to be onion pickers. You go out to the field and you pick the onions.
And why don't you think probation officers could, or I'm saying people who on probation could do the same work as?
Because it's a skilled labor force. These people have rhythm with what they do. They come out in the morning, they endure the sun all day long. You're not going to be able to get someone who's in air conditioning 12, 14 hours a day to come out and work and be able to maintain their stamina that's required during that short period of time that the harvest has to be produced. When the onion blooms, it has to be harvested at the right time, otherwise it degrades from the inside out. Blueberries, when they're ready, they have to be picked right then. Blackberries, they turn red if they don't harvest at the correct time.
Right. So why can't the parolees or whatever do that? Why can't people on probation do that?
But where would they come from in that short window of time?
I guess the jails would help transport them and so forth.
And I guess we've forgotten the idea that prisoners can't go on private property. As the mayor, when I have community service people come in or prisoners come in to do the work in the town, I have an agreement with the guy who's bringing them in that they cannot set foot. And I'm talking about working. They can't set foot on private property. So it's there's so much more to it than these politicians would have us believe.
Last question: if people are willing to work for, maybe a higher standard of wage, like we're talking citizens here, would the farmers be against that? Or
No. They would be for it. Again, the problem with that part is that the squash need to be picked on Mondays and Wednesdays and Saturdays. So what are they going to do on those off days? The jobs.
What are the undocumented workers?
They have a pine straw field they go to, or they've got a tomato field they go to. In other words, their crew leader typically has some jobs lined up for them. The majority of us want to have fringe benefits. We want to have the weekends off. We want to have afternoons off. We want sick time and vacation time. And these people don't get that. In fact, we lose sight of the fact that the ones who are working for $7.25 an hour work all hours at $7.25 an hour. Sometimes 75, 80 hours a week at $7.25 an hour. Now, how many people do you think would work for $7.25 an hour, all hours worked?
Right, and actually that was pointed out today by the pro-deal lawyer. She was talking about slave labor. What is your response to that when they say that the undocumented workers might be slave laborees?
Well, I can't say that the undocumented haven't been exploited, but I will say that when that exploitation happens, there have been lawsuits that have been filed to protect those workers. The majority of the farmers, in fact, all the farmers that I know, work hard to make sure that their workers are well taken care of. They provide housing, they provide transportation.
Right, but you just said 75 to 80 hours. Would you consider that exploitation? Or
No, because they are they understand what they're doing and they understand going into it that it's $7.25 an hour. Now, understand the law is defined on that the onions brought into this warehouse has to be from that farm. In other words, if they bring in some onions from another farm, right, then the overtime clock clicks in. But no, it doesn't feel like an exploitation. Now, there may be somebody who is more liberal than I think that it's exploitation, but for me, it's a conservative issue.
Okay. And what is your first and last name?
Paul Bridges.
And you're the mayor of which town?
Uvalda.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Bye-bye.